Hey guys, welcome back to Trainer to Collector. This is Cameron. Figured I'd give you guys a video today, just kind of detailing my journey through sports cards and also showing you guys some of my PC cards that I've picked up over the last 6 years I've been collecting sports cards. Just to give you guys a little bit of context, grew up loving watching sports, playing sports, and with that, a little bit around 2020, really started getting into it. My dad had been collecting sports cards for most of his life, and I was able to finally kind of get into collecting sports cards, either between slabs, singles, and then I was really enjoyed watching a lot of the Whatnot content and then going to card shows, and that was kind of where I first started it. And then I also worked at a card shop in my area for about 5 years as well, so I was around sports cards quite a bit. So that's kind of the funny thing with me being more predominantly a Pokemon person now versus collecting sports cards in the past was I was around Pokemon, just wasn't as into it as I was when I was younger, besides playing the games every so often. So like I said, did that pivot around the end of last year is kind of when I pivoted more into Pokemon versus doing sports cards. Even though I still pick up some sports cards from time to time, not quite as adept into it as I once was, but still watch a lot of sports. So still kind of try to keep myself acclimated enough so if I decide to go dabble a little bit more back into it, I kind of have a good idea of what I'm looking for. But really always enjoyed ripping, just like Pokemon, always loved to enjoy ripping, enjoyed, pulling some really crazy hits, and then also ripping a lot and pulling absolutely nothing too. So obviously very much like that in Pokemon. I just think the hits are quite a bit bigger a lot of times. You definitely have a possibility of pulling a lot larger cards with sports cards, but the boxes can be also quite a bit more money versus Pokemon. Didn't really keep any sealed, mostly just slabs and then singles that were ungraded singles. So, but let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, the first card I'll probably show you guys is my Malik Monk authentic autograph in his Kentucky uniform. I grew up a big Kentucky basketball fan, still am. Malik Monk was probably my favorite player growing up. And then I'll actually have another Kentucky player down the road with some cards in here I'll get to show you guys. But picked that and I think 2 other cards up at a local show probably about 5 years ago, and I don't ever plan on selling those or getting rid of those or doing anything with those. So those will just be cards that I keep in the PC for a long time. So, and then another team I'm a real big fan of is the Dallas Cowboys. Tony Romo was my favorite quarterback growing up, so I got a patch auto right here, and then I also have a mosaic auto and a 1010 in SGC, and I also have another one very similar to this auto. And Romo was my favorite player growing up, being a Cowboys fan. My dad was a Cowboys fan, so I kind of picked up after him when watching a lot of the Cowboys stuff. So, like I said, I got a few more Romo. I think I have one more Romo auto and then a few more Romo cards, different inserts and whatnot. So, and then like I said, kind of to keep on track with the Dallas Cowboys theme, I also have a rookie patch auto of the current quarterback, Dak Prescott. Another card I really enjoy, really like, that I was given as a gift too. So, like I said, my 5 major teams when it comes to college, I'm a Kentucky Wildcats fan. Football, NFL would be Cowboys, Detroit Pistons for NBA, Detroit Red Wings, and Detroit Tigers for NHL and for baseball. Not a big soccer fan, but like I said, kind of stick to those. Kind of the football, basketball, baseball are kind of my main 3 sports that I kind of watch and pay attention to. So, and like I said, got those ones. Those ones are really cool. And then also I have my current favorite player in the NBA at the moment, Cade Cunningham. Got a rookie here, blue, out of actually 99. Had this one for a while. Cade's been a big fan of Cade since we've had him. And then, you see in the background, signed Cade jersey too. So definitely have quite a bit of Cade. Gotten a lot of it as gifts and also picked up throughout time in the PC. And then when it comes to the Red Wings, NHL, I got the letter A of Larkin's last name, Dylan Larkin, patch auto, rookie. Definitely a really cool one that I picked up from a good friend of mine at a show probably a few years back. And don't have a ton of hockey cards, but pretty much kind of just pick up Red Wings. Nothing really else too crazy when it comes to that. And then, like I said, I was talking about Kentucky cards. This is probably my second favorite Kentucky card, probably my second favorite player while at Kentucky. And that is Anthony Davis auto out of 25. Oh, sorry, out of 23 out of Contenders. That one I really love. Picked that one up probably within the last year or so. Like I said, really cool card. Love getting any cards of any of my players from my college teams, if it's pro uniform or if it's college. Like I said, just have a little bit more of a attraction towards it when it's more of the college stuff than it is the pros, because they might be on a team that's not one of my favorite teams in the NBA or NFL. So like I said, definitely a really cool card. Picked that one up recently. And then some inserts that I've picked up in over the last few years too, as well as a Jambalaya Tiger Woods. I really think this is a really, really cool card. I love the blue on blue on the Jambalaya, as long as Tiger's also wearing that blue as well. So this was a really cool pickup I picked up a few years ago. And then my favorite player in MLB, Mike Trout. Grew up a Tigers fan, but also really liked the Angels. I remember playing one of the old MLB games and picking the Angels, and I really always liking their colors. And then grew up watching Trout when I was younger too. So like I said, picked up that stained glass, and I've had some different stuff over time of his. But like I said, those are kind of just some of the, my PC cards that I've picked up over time. Like I said, I kind of pick up a lot of the college and pro stuff of a lot of these guys between, all the sports. And like I said, just pick them up when I find good deals. Love picking up cheap number cards, cheap autos. Like I said, that's what I kind of stick to for the most part, PC-wise. Like I said, definitely want to get a little bit more back into sports cards. Kind of miss collecting more of it. It's just sports cards can be very expensive, especially when it's very much. It has a lot of different booms. If you're not buying at the right time or when the market's a little bit down, it's hard to justify it because some of these cards can be really expensive if it's one of the more desirable cards. But it has the potential, if they have a really good year, that they could go up quite a bit too. So, but like I said, really enjoy loving sports, collecting sports cards, and really love collecting sports cards. And I guess it's easy when I'm already watching a lot of the sports as well. So, but definitely want to do a little bit more content with sports cards. Maybe we're doing some more ripping packs, or even just kind of talking about market talk with that. And I know this past week the National was going on, or a few weeks ago the National was going on, and it's a show that I've always wanted to go to and hope to plan to go to one day too. Obviously a little bit more sports centric versus Pokemon, but I think they do Pokemon there as well too. So, but yeah, all in all, let me know what you guys think in the comments of some of my cards. I know some of these teams are probably not the most popular with fans across the country, but like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments and some of the PC cards you guys have been picking up. So, as always, I appreciate the support, and have a good one.